Welcome to episode 11 of the Fantasy Trail, Week 8 Roundup. This is Matt.
This is JT.
Mike Scarano here, my assistant buddy joining us.
Man, what a disappointing week.
I don't know. I thought it went fine.
I tell you this, playoff hunt. Playoff hunt tied for second place? How is this possible?
Well, you're not tied for second place, buddy.
Yes, I certainly am.
Oh,
Check
in the division. In the division.
2. Yes, I am.
Yeah, okay. In the division. Yeah, okay. I thought you meant overall.
No, no. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying as far as division goes right now, I am tied.
Yeah,
You
but
are
it
also
doesn't matter
tied for last place, too.
Winners.
Yeah, but tied for second place and tied for last place means in the playoff hunt. Sorry, ladies.
You're in the playoff hunt for sure. I won't deny that. But being in second place in your division doesn't carry any weight. Only the division winners matter, and then it's just the best 4 teams after that.
Yes. It's called a 2-game win streak. That's the second longest in the league right now. Interestingly enough.
Tripling your total for the year.
It means I'm coming on hot, is what it means. But I do have a tough situation with some buys coming up. So
I would imagine you are not the only one. Mike, just to be clear, I think we should start with your game. And though you won, you would have lost.
It was very close. It was very close to
every other team in the league.
Okay. But
that doesn't bode well, buddy.
I stayed in the playoff hunt with a win.
So are you saying that
with an Ingram of a -2.5 points as well?
Are you saying earlier in the year you
back who gets about 10, at least 10 a week?
You got boned by scoring good scores, but having people score great scores above you, and this is balancing it out?
Oh, you're saying on the points, 4 points against, you're saying?
Yeah, because you got killed on that earlier in the year.
Listen, I do understand that, but what that is saying is that maybe I got lucky one week.
Yeah, this is it. This was the week.
This is it. But I mean, I got a 4.5 from Julio Jones. I got a -2 from Ingram, and I still pull out a win.
Did you worry on Monday night when she was coming back?
Oh, very much so. I even woke up late at night like I sometimes do and checked the score at like 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Just to see I just had it. And if he got any type of touchdown or anything, I was going to lose. I was telling Matt that earlier.
Matt with a double dip, the loss and a Philly tough overtime loss.
Yep.
Yeah. And, just the fact that, I was 4th highest in the league in points this week. It was a terrible week for me. I'm not happy with my score, but I
tell you this. I think we are getting a lot more traction and momentum moving towards the 2-point system.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think we have 3 yes votes from us. I haven't heard any major dissent from it. And I really like the idea of voting right after the season when things are fresh, because I just think when we come back for a new season, it's very easy to stick with the status quo and just say, why can't we just have it as it was last year? I think this year we actually have some momentum moving in the other direction. So I would have, of course, won 1 point and lost the other.
But now, JT, if we want to go to this 2-point system, I think we might have to leave ESPN.
I'm not sure there's any site that will do it, to be honest. I think it might end up being we have an ESPN scoreboard and then a secondary scoreboard that gets released every week on the fantasy.
It would be like a Google sheet?
Oh, no. I think it's an entire people to watch the fantasy trail. Best advertisement we've ever had. You want to know the real standings? Come on in.
Couldn't we? But in all reality, we could put some type of link on the site that would lead you to a Google sheet that would have the.
Yeah.
No.
I mean.
No, not happening.
But
it's not as fun, is it?
Although I guess the commissioner could also go in and adjust the score as needed.
Okay. Well, there we are.
Yeah,
but
I can
add extra games.
I don't know if I can adjust standings. I don't know if I can adjust wins, but anyway, we got a little off track. Let's head to the next game. Ooh, speaking of games, grand slam in the Cubbies game, up 7-0 now.
Really?
Yeah.
Looks like a good game 7 tomorrow.
Looks like it could be. Why don't we head to my game next? That was the next lowest scoring game. I went to bed assuming that I had it in the bag. I went to bed at halftime of the game, I was feeling pretty stoked to have an okay week after the worst Thursday I could possibly have. And I barely hung on, just winning by 3 over a suddenly plummeting Richard.
Yeah, Richards. And Richards' plummet is helping this guy's ascent right here. Is how I see it, my friend. He's on quite. It's 3 games for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the current longest losing streak in our league?
Yes.
I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, I
All
do.
right. Well, I'm sorry, Rich. You've always been a good friend of mine. Maybe time for some changes. Let's get a trade going, Cuzzy.
I got to admit, I don't know if you guys saw on Thursday, because this would be something you would have been mocking me about on a Friday morning normally. But I benched Bortles and Hearns. Combined for 52. The guys I put in their place combined for approximately 22. And I did decide to play one guy on Thursday night because, you know, I'm a genius. And that was the Jaguars defense. They got a -3.
Well, weren't they down 24-0 at about the half? I didn't see the game. I just had some other stuff I had to do.
I could have played a total of 3 guys, and I ended up with somehow a -3, even though they had a potential of 52.
JT, you perhaps have Bortles back to his regular form of scoring tons of garbage points.
Yeah, but he's sitting on my bench against this week, and I don't like his matchup, and I love Winston again. Winston's got Atlanta. I don't know. Listen, I'll take the win.
It could have a shootout written all over it. Atlanta looks like they're able to control the ball at the line of scrimmage a little bit. They're running the ball a little better. For some reason, I've seen them play a couple more games this year than just normally. And it's funny when you start to look at it. And I was just listening to a show about it. It was talking about wide receivers, how they are treated like a staple, like milk, bread, or eggs, but they should be more like a luxury item, like cufflinks. And they were discussing Julio Jones, and they're saying, well, why is Atlanta successful now? Is it because of Julio? No. And the Giants kind of are treating Odell Beckham like milk and bread, where he, again, should probably be treated a little bit more like cufflinks or a Ferrari.
Well, speaking of Odell, I'd say that's the main reason I won. Buys. Rich had 3 starters for him on buys, and he ended up playing some pretty crummy guys. DeAndre Washington didn't look very good. He threw in a couple guys he might not have normally played. I think if he does anything else, I lose there. I got a nice little bounce back game from Mr. Forte 2 weeks in a row now. I threw in Mr. Powell. That was a nice little play by me. Cooper finally scored a touchdown instead of just his normal tons of catches. And I think my win came from a last-minute pickup of a gentleman by the name of Robert Kelly, who really saved me there as a backup
to Washington.
Yeah, backup to Jones. So
I only watched a little bit of that game, but it was like it almost lasted like 5 hours.
Yeah, it was a weirdo. So I don't know. I'll take it. I need a win.
Thank God these London games are over. Sorry, fellas. I know there's some differing opinions here, but thank God.
It doesn't bother me. Let's slide to next one up. Let's go to Casey versus Rachel. A pretty strange one.
But we were kind of predicting that because of Antonio Brown being on a bye this week and Casey getting back Ezekiel, that Casey would take that game. And that's what ended up happening.
Yeah, you're absolutely dead on. I was surprised at how close Rachel made it.
Oh, okay. Okay, no, that's a fair assessment, I would say. It's just hard drafting at that one. I remember years ago in drafting in fantasy that that one pick was coveted. And, in a 12-team league like us, I just argue, who's that good?
Well, Rachel had some major buys. She lost Antonio Brown and Rashad Jennings. She just lost C.J. Anderson for the year. She lost her kicker and her defense, so she had to make a lot of moves in order to pick up 2 guys for that.
Yes.
And she almost made it close. If she could have found somebody out there to put in place Dwayne Washington, who got a 0, somebody picks up a 9 or a 10, which there were some guys out there, she could have snuck out a really nice win there. That's too bad. Casey's on a roll.
And he left a lot of points on his bench, too.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
he did.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Casey's team has been good enough to hang in there. He's the only 4-4 squad. He's kind of separated himself a little bit by scoring a lot of points, and if he could coach a little better. Sorry, but it's true.
Disrespect. You're right, JT. I mean, 4-4 is interesting because it's so much hit or miss right now. We seem to have two very dominating teams and a Tamalian team that, although looks strong, seems to be slipping a little bit.
Oh, dude, I thought you were going to save your hot take for later.
That is not my hot take. This one's sizzling. You just wait.
I don't know, man. Listen, it's interesting to look at that squad. Casey's got a lot of good ones. Tamala's dead on when he looks at the bench and says he sat a ton. There's 75 points on the bench. That's huge. Mm-hmm. I worry about whoever's playing him this week, and unless buys are stepping in, because there's a lot there. But Rachel could not pull out the win. Casey sneaks in and takes it. I don't know. I was surprised.
Okay.
What do you think? What's next, Tamala?
Let's talk about your wife going up against Colin.
Yes.
Well, Colin's been on a bit of a skid lately.
Yeah, but
up and down.
Joelle put up a good score. 7-1. Record doesn't lie. We keep on waiting for her to fail, and she just doesn't.
Yeah. She just doesn't happen. I have to play her this week, and I'm looking at the matchup. It looks like it's a winnable game for me, but she does just keep on winning.
She's gonna kick your butt.
Oh, I'd hold off on that one now. Second longest win streak in the league. Be careful.
First of all, third longest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Listen, here's the strangest thing about this year. There were other years where she would have stepped in and asked me for some help, or I would have tried to do something to assist her. She and I have not talked one bit this year about pickups. She's made every move herself. I would have never touched Russell Shepard and Adam Humphreys, and Shepard comes down with a touchdown, and she ends up with a couple good fill-ins for some guys that were out on buys or out hurt. She lost Charles today, officially for the year. That sucks. That's a number 2 pick on the year who maybe got, what did he get, 5 points total for the year, basically?
Yeah, but at the same time, I think it's closer at this point.
Oh,
yeah, but it's nice to have backups when there's buys.
But I'm going to say this. This might be a little hot take. This is probably, I think, the last you're going to see of him.
Nah, I heard that possibly too. She gets a couple guys back next week. She gets Terrence West back.
Yep.
Curley might be back.
Hill goes on by, but then she's going to replace him. I was just looking at the matchup that I have, and she's going to replace him with West, who he has some hit or miss, but listen, it's a winnable game for me.
It's a winnable game, especially because we all look at it, and like Tamala said, I keep waiting for her to maybe level off a little bit, but that's 3 or 4 straight weeks of her actually putting up really good scores and winning instead of just winning, which she was doing in the beginning of the year. I was looking at the standings. Her points for are not that far off from some of the top ones. She's only 50 behind Brian, only 17 behind Casey. And those are 2 squads that we look at as really good high-scoring squads. And suddenly she's not that far off.
Strong, she's outscored you every week but once.
Okay. Well, listen, guys.
It stays that way. Rarely have I ever been more of a cheerleader. At this point.
Well, I'm going to say this though. And this is where my squad keeps coming in. My major disappointment, believe it or not, and it's going to seem to be not, and you're going to argue and say that it's not correct, has really been Julio.
Inconsistent.
Very inconsistent. He puts up like a monster week, getting 200 some odd yards, and then other weeks like this past one where it's 4 points on a high scoring offense like that. It's very frustrating and disappointing.
Yeah, dude. He's had 3 not great weeks.
Yeah,
but he's also had 5 incredible weeks. So I don't know.
There's no consistency, though. I mean, there's zero consistency. It's
I'm
on,
not
off,
sure there's
on,
really
off.
much consistency from any player that's in the wide receiver position. I don't think there's anybody this year that has consistently put up a great score every
I
week.
mean, you're correct in saying, like, perhaps Antonio Brown is doing the exact same thing that Julio's doing, or maybe even worse.
I could tell you what my guy, DeAndre Hopkins, who I thought was going to be an absolute star, has been really weak. Much worse than Julio. I'd take that trade in a second.
Okay, I'm with you. Maybe it's just that we can't expect the consistency from this position as we have in the past.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some less consistency at the quarterback position, perhaps, and that's where this is coming from.
Could be. All
But
right,
I mean, like last week,
what's
Sanu
next?
was feeding Sanu.
We have our final matchup, or I believe that's our final matchup. Or no, not our final. Let's go to Michael and Jake.
Yeah, Michael and Jake. Boy, Derek freaking Carr, huh?
Oh yeah, man. I heard an argument. This is again hot take, but not my hot take. That Derek Carr right now is MVP material.
I heard it too.
Nobody is more responsible for changing a losing culture into a culture that is at least exciting and winning.
Yeah, he's 8-1 right now. Brady, I think, is 3-1.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess it's just kind of that Brady has a little bit of the won it before.
They're both in the conversation.
Okay.
I mean, nobody's throwing dildos at Carr, but I don't know what that counts.
You're assuming that was for Brady?
It said it on it. Literally written on there. But I mean, the car game is huge, but Jake would have won comfortably without it.
I wasn't aware. I was not aware that it said Brady on it, but now I do think that's hilarious. It hit Chris Hogan, didn't it? Now.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to it. I mean, Jake, just good game all around. There was 2 guys that were disappointing, and one of them has been his best player of the year, possibly with the Vikings D. And Tyrell Williams, pretty weak, but everybody else was double digits and looking good. Solid squad.
Jake's team, like I've said, if I had to pick a winner this year, sorry, Brian, sorry, Matt, I like Jake's team.
Tamala, did you get a little sad when you saw Michael play Dante Moncrief?
No. I'm over him.
You waited all year for that to possibly come back and bite you, and it finally showed up where he played. And I mean, he didn't do anything great, but
no, I didn't drop Moncrief. I dropped Dorsett.
Oh, I thought Moncrief was the guy. Oh, well, never mind. There goes my whole comment. Michael's got to be pleased with Jonathan Stewart's return. He looked great.
Looked good.
And Dez coming back and looking good.
Mm-hmm.
He should get McCoy back this week, I'm thinking. I can't believe he played Fitz after the way he looked this year, but he's outscored Rivers, and he's going to get Bell back. So,
it's one of the funny things. Go ahead, JT. I'm sorry.
That's all. I just say I think he'll be okay, but he's lost
one of the funny things with the Jets where everyone was thinking that they should have given Fitz the long-term contract. And it's funny where, like, no, they were right. He just can't seem to string together a couple good years in a row. There's other factors that are going into this. I do understand that. But aren't they happy that they just gave him a short-term deal?
I think they got to be thrilled. And hopefully Michael gave him an even shorter-term deal. I have to agree with Scarano, though. Jake's squad looks really good. There's a lot of points on the bench, especially because 3 injured guys could be coming back and all doing fine. Good backup quarterback in case there's a bad matchup for Carr. It's a nice looking squad.
Looking good.
All right, Tamala, you postponed this long enough.
Brian kicked my butt.
Brian's a strong team, Matt. Your score wasn't bad. This is a tough matchup for you. You're right in the playoff hunt. Unfortunately, you're not in the weaker division that I'm in, which would keep you well above the fray.
Could you have come back if you played a perfect lineup?
Uh,
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
no, I mean,
You
no.
lost, my friend.
Yeah. Stafford let you down.
Yep. As he's let many in the past.
No, I mean, I would say Mike Evans let me down more than anything.
On fantasy football now, listed as the number 2 receiver. Oh, by the way, who was 1 this week?
I don't know.
Julio put up 4 points, just so you know. So much for the experts.
Well, that's supposedly what we are, right?
And then, I mean, Cardinals
You
defense. I mean,
You
that
took a
killed me.
beating in defense, yeah.
I mean, there's a 16-point difference between our defenses, and I mean, that's almost our matchup right there.
Yep, that's it. That's tough. You don't
That's the Panthers.
you don't recover from that as well. That's a strange one. I mean, we know the Broncos D is good, but Cardinals had just gotten real beat up on that Monday night. Had to fly across the country.
And the Panthers,
Short
but the
week.
Panthers have turned the ball over this year.
I know. That's a tough one, Tamal. I think you'll be okay, obviously, but 2 losses in a row, you starting to get a little nervous?
I mean, no, really, I am. I mean, I've been nervous all year. Like, I've never really felt all that confident about my team.
Well, let me tell you this, buddy. I lost 5 in a row, so until you get there, don't you worry one bit.
To
But,
calm
like, I
your
mean-
nerves, my friend. There could be a nuclear winter
But like,
tomorrow. We
I
don't
look
know.
at my score.
Volcano could go off. Anything can happen, Matt. Don't worry about it.
But no, like I mean, I look at my score, and like I said, I think it's a bad score, but like it's the 4th highest score in the league this week. It was a low scoring week.
It was.
Listen, Matt, I'm telling you, in next year's time, you get a point for this week. You'll feel a lot better.
That's true
You
too.
have the
I
same
think you're
thing
okay.
that happened to you that happened to me this week. Is when
Well,
we lead with a 1 and a 1.
2 weeks in a row where you really just got burned by playing the wrong matchup, and it makes you feel bad, and that's unfortunate, especially if you're going against a squad that you might potentially play in the playoffs. But I don't think you can worry too much. You are still comfortably in the playoffs right now. You are still in the hunt for the bye, even though this one hurts you a little bit.
If only I was in the other division.
That would be helpful.
If you were in the other division, you would be above the fray, my friend. I'm the fray.
Yeah. All right, let's look ahead to next week. What do we got?
All right.
I know mine first. I'll do that while you're pulling it up. I got Michael Thomas. I am
Le'Veon Bell comes back.
yeah, I'm hit with buys pretty good. I lose 5, 6 guys. He loses
Oh, really?
Yeah, he loses nobody that he would start.
And getting back someone who he didn't start last week.
Yeah, and he gets McCoy back. I don't feel good. He's got Bell, McCoy, and Stewart. That's a pretty solid trio of running backs. He's got Phillip Rivers against Tennessee. Whew, he's got Dez back.
But you can pull
if
out
I
a
were a
victory,
betting man, JT.
you're tied in the record.
Yeah, I know. It's huge. It's my season, I would argue. I would argue that
Really?
I'm hanging on by my teeth barely anyway. And if I don't win here, I think there's going to be some of these 3 and 5 squads that pull away. 2 games back with not many to go is going to be really.
In the other division, I think you'd still be in the hunt, but in your current division, no, sir.
Yeah, I'm in trouble. But you never know. I could pull this one out. That's
You
Yeah,
know,
they got him favored by, I think-
running one in could really, really help you this week.
yeah. I think they got him favored by 34 right now.
Ooh, it's a little worse than I thought.
Yeah. All right. What about you, Tamala? Who you got this week?
I got Rich.
Oh.
I'm hit pretty hard with the buys, and he's looking pretty darn healthy.
Oh yeah. Look at that.
I got a big quarterback decision. Stafford against Minnesota,
At Minnesota.
or Wentz against the Giants.
Homer, but I take him. Homer, but I take him.
I got David Johnson out on a bye.
Yep.
I got Gronk out on a bye, and I need to pick up a defense.
Well, you probably were going to pick one up anyway. I think that obviously the David Johnson thing hurts a lot, but you might be catching a break. I read a report today that Sproles could be taken over for Matthews, and I think Devontae Adams is going to be able to be somebody you got to think about trying to sneak in there too.
Mm-hmm.
So we will see. I'm not looking. I think
been on the flex appeal rating very high in fantasy football now on ESPN.
Yeah, you almost have too many wide receivers. I wish you could sneak one of those guys in for a tight end for Gronk.
Yeah, we'll see. Just the way the buys are and who's available. I really wouldn't be surprised if I took a L again 3 weeks in a row now.
Could be. Rich gets Carlos Hyde back. He gets Beckham back from a bye. He gets Mike Wallace back from a bye. He's got Matt Ryan going against Tampa Bay.
He's got Willie Snead of San Francisco.
Yeah, a couple good things going for him. His defense is in a tough spot at Seattle. Don't like that for the Bills.
But he could switch that up at any point and probably pick up someone with a favorable matchup.
I get the feeling he won't. He's stuck with the Bills all year, regardless of the matchup.
I mean, I think the Bills are going to sack him like 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
Could be. All right, Scarano, who you got this week?
Your old lady, Joelle.
Oh, all right. Let's look at that. What is she
Tough
lose?
week for me. I'm going to need to pick up a tight end at some point or another. I'm hit on buys a little bit. Chris Hogan had a big week for me last week. He's got to go. But I'm going to put Shepard in there, who I also think has big play potential this week.
All right, Scarano, I got a question for you. Are you playing Big Ben if he comes back?
That one's a little bit iffy for me. Mariota has paid off, believe it or not, over these past couple weeks. I'm a little nervous about Big Ben this week, to be honest with you. I think I might stick with Mariota.
Interesting. That's that. I don't blame you, but it is an interesting one. She gets hit with Jeffrey and Hill going down in a bye.
Yes.
She also needs to pick up a defense. So that's two tough ones there for her. But like you said, she gets a couple guys back. I think this is a pretty even matchup.
It depends. I see. Could Mariota have a big game? Maybe run one in for me. That would be incredibly big. I want to see Ingram come back. That's one of the ones that kind of baffled me. We had a fumble for a touchdown, and then was out the rest of the game. So
I heard
on him.
He might be getting benched.
That's a concern for me big time because I just don't have that depth at running back right now, even though Melvin Gordon has just been fantastic this year, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Quietly, one of the better running backs in football.
I heard Sean Payton is pissed at Ingram. That's why he benched him. Hightower's been.
Oh, you mean future USC coach Sean Payton?
Call him what you will. All right, let's look at some of the other
let's talk about Ingram for 1 second.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so you're telling me he's the best. He's having a great fantasy season. He's having a terrible football season. He's averaging.
Ingram or Gordon? Because I really meant to say Gordon.
Melvin Gordon. I'm sorry.
I don't know where he ranks in the percentile rankings right now, but
he's averaging like 2 yards a carry.
Yeah, but he finds the end zone each week, just about.
Opportunity.
Yeah.
Not a good running back.
But that's fantasy, man.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying he's having a wonderful fantasy season, but he's a terrible football player.
Oh, really? That's a
if Woodhead was there, he wouldn't be playing. Okay.
Yeah, are we a little bitter about the Woodhead thing? I can see here.
No, I'm not. He
was a first-round draft pick. He does catch some things out of the backfield. I'm not saying he's the best thing ever. He seems to find the end zone. There's been a couple weeks where I believe he's had more than one touchdown.
Trent Richardson 2.0.
He has. I think he's a little better than that. He's had a couple 20 for 100-yard seasons. I mean, his average is not great. He's 3.6 for the year, but that's not.
Where does he rank? Where does he rank in percentile rank in fantasy?
Well, that's not some of those arguments. So to be fair, he's arguing just general regular football stuff. But it is an interesting one to look. I'll look that up. Head to the next one. What we got?
Casey against Brian.
Oh, okay. Two good teams.
Yeah. Casey loses Blunt and Eifert.
Okay.
Looks like Brian's just missing his kicker.
Wow, that's a good one for him.
This is a good matchup.
I haven't looked at their benches, but
I'm looking at them now. Brian misses AJ Green, Jordan Reed, and Jamison Crowder. Brian also loses Jaquiz Rogers, who's been excellent the last couple weeks, but he does pick up Charkandrick West if Spencer Ware goes down.
I just have a very difficult time betting against Brian at this point.
Casey can sub in easily Jason Witten for Eifert, and for running back, he can put in nobody that I can see unless Javarius Allen decides to start and break the legs of every other Baltimore running back.
What do we think about Casey carrying 3 tight ends?
It feels about in line with the rest of his coaching.
Usually it's me giving him the disc, JT. I could see someone's picked this up right away, my friend.
But we all know he's not watching.
Before you know it, you'll have a hot take, Jay.
Listen, I don't know. I get it, but listen, he can draft. I'll have to give him that because either he or the auto drafts can draft quite well, and he just he makes some weird choices beyond that. That's what I look at when I see the league.
All right.
My money is on Brian on that one. Sorry, guys.
Okay, now not a problem. What's next?
We have Rachel against Angela.
She gets Antonio Brown back. Let's start there. And if Ben comes back with Antonio, that could be big game potential.
There's a matchup that Simmons refers to as loser leaves town. And this kind of feels like a loser leaves town match. If Angela goes down, I'd say her season's done, much like me. And with Rachel, if she goes down, even though she's not technically out of it, that's going to be a tough one to climb out of, being behind a lot of people ahead of her.
Yeah. Rachel loses Howard, who she didn't play last week.
Boy, did he play well last night.
But yeah, he had something lit under his tail.
Oh, she almost came back. She almost came back with him. He looked like a monster.
I saw the 64-yard run, man, and he looked sharp, man. Not looking good for my Langford pick, by the way.
Angela does not lose anything, and Angela gets back Ajayi, who she does not currently have.
Oh, so someone might have to eat their hat now, because I think that could be one of the top running backs in the league.
Wow, I mean, he's 33-28 last 2 weeks, and he gets a bye. He's got the Jets too. That could be.
But you know what? Like, I think this year the buys have hurt teams more than they've helped. It seems like a lot of teams who were hot before the bye have come back ice cold. Vikings.
There's any teams who have been ice cold come back and look pretty good.
I don't know. I honestly haven't been paying attention to the buys on any level like that.
I don't know. It seems like we've lost a lot of momentum. Like, you think they come back, they're rested, they'll come back, continue, and they just haven't looked.
You're saying even like the Vikings, for instance, as well?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I can see that one.
Looking at it, no losses really whatsoever for Angela. It's that could be an interesting matchup. That might seal a season for somebody.
Matchup. What Rachel is kind of depending on is if Big Ben can come back and Antonio Brown can put up some numbers similar to we did last year, or even occasionally sporadically this year.
But I think part of the problem is they're double teaming Antonio Brown on every single play.
Yeah, that all changes when Big Ben comes back, though. Big Ben is everything for Antonio. Even if he's getting double teamed, he was putting up great numbers with Big Ben there.
Mm-hmm. Plus, he twerks really well too.
The important thing.
All right, let's next.
Better than Miley Ray Cyrus.
We got
next. We have Jake up against Colin.
Yeah, all right. Who's getting hit with buys? Ooh, Colin loses Brady and Dalton, both his QBs.
Bad planning.
I think it's an easy pick right here, my friend.
Ooh.
Up and down, Jake, man. Most solid team we have.
Look at Jake's getting hammered with buys. He loses Lamar Miller, Giovanni Bernard, James White, and Larry Fitzgerald.
who does he have to replace any of them? It's maybe as far as the running back goes.
He's got a hopeful Temin Coleman, and that is up in the air. If he doesn't play, that could be a real problem for him because he's going to have to drop somebody he doesn't want to drop.
And then Montgomery,
Montgomery, who also is kind of in a weird situation where he just couldn't play because of sickle cell stuff. So, I mean, both those guys could suit up. Randall Cobb, same thing. But if he gets hit with an injury right now, he's got some very tough choices on his hand. Who do you drop? He doesn't have anybody that I would drop right now.
That's what I was saying. Like, it almost, you think it's a blessing to have such good, you know what I mean? You say up and down the best one by, bench looking sharp. But now,
It's the same thing with his kicker situation right now. He's got to drop Gostowski, and I don't know if he'd normally want to do that. Not that he's been incredible this year, but normally he might want to.
It's the toughest one to drop in my mind.
Yeah, I don't know. Tough call. I still look at him as the favorite in this matchup because Colin's going to be throwing out someone fairly weak at quarterback.
Who does he have on the bench, Jay?
Dalton, who's also on a bye.
Oh, really?
But now he's also
you got to drop Dalton.
What's that, Small?
He also has Eddie Lacy still on his roster.
Yeah, which I think will change. Ivory is probably going to change. He's got plenty of guys to drop if you're looking for a silver lining. That's an interesting matchup, though. I think Jake has been on a roll. I think that he's got a little bit of an interesting speed bump here with a bunch of buys, those potential injuries, Derek Carr going against Denver. That's I don't know. He could have himself a tough one here. I think the rest of the league sure wouldn't mind to see Colin sneak one out just to keep things a little close. But I
still don't necessarily see Carr slowing down. Sorry.
Yeah, Jake's been the hottest team in the league, and Carr's been right there with him. I can't argue with it. Did we cover them all?
Yep, that's it. Let's go to power rankings.
All right, power rankings it is. Real quick before that, two things of note. Number one, Melvin Gordon is number 3 in fantasy.
One of the best in the league.
And number 2, going back to the idea of things we should probably talk about before the year ends and make sure we don't forget about things. We never talked about money. We never brought it up. Beginning of the year, I'm assuming we're going by what we had last year. I don't remember exactly what we had last year.
$40 a head, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not talking about who owes what. You're talking about distribution.
Yeah. So I'm trying to calculate that out. I think we did, was it 20 for division winner? I don't know. We need to talk about that. If some people could get some conversations going, perhaps in the chat, throw out some ideas, do some math. I think we did last year. I want to say we did 20 ahead for division winners, and then gave the majority to first, a nice chunk to second, and a little bit to third.
I think third just got your money back.
Money back. Okay. So if we do 20 ahead to division winners and 40 to third place, that knocks out $80, and that still leaves us with $400 to split up amongst the top 2 squads.
So what was it? Do you remember last year, JT, or no?
I don't. I also don't remember. I'm guessing that we did $20 to the division winners, or did we do division winners get their money back?
Didn't we do high score of the week?
We did that last year. Yeah. $5.
I would like to institute that rule.
Yeah. See, this is where I wish we would have talked about it, because that really changes a lot of things for people. I think because we didn't talk about it, we have to do the exact same thing we did last year.
Yes.
Probably.
Yes, that's what I'd prefer, whatever it was last year.
I don't love that, but I think it's important that we make sure that we talk about these things either at the end of this year or we get some sort of conversation going at the beginning of next year, because this is a mistake to be talking about in week 10.
Yes,
absolutely.
I agree with that.
And honestly, I don't know. I think we need rules in writing somewhere for the league.
Yeah, I think now that we have a very constant group that looks like nobody's, leaving or coming and going, everybody seems to be participating well. We're not having as much change. I think some sort of rule list would be good. So, all right, just want to bring that up. Well, let's get that sorted out this week. If anybody really doesn't like the idea of sticking with last year's money, let me know. All right, let's hit these quick. I don't want to spend a great deal of time on it. I think we've
My
covered
hot take only take a minute or two, guys, but you're getting sizzling hot.
Okay. I don't think we have too much that we haven't already talked about in terms of these rankings. I threw myself at last still. Victory does not matter. I do not feel good about where I am. And until I get myself out of the last place, I don't deserve anything more, even though I won. I got Angela coming in one little iota above me. I don't think her squad is actually better than mine, and she lost this week, but that's how bad I feel about my season. Coming in at number 10, that's you, Scarano.
Well, really?
Yeah, that's right.
After 2 wins in a row, a solid second place. I am shocked, JT.
You put up an absolutely pathetic score. You could have lost by far. You would have lost to every other team in the league. Third. You're a joke. You're a and I stand by that.
And I still get no respect from this league. This is not a shock at all.
Never will, buddy. Coming in at number 9, I got Colin. He is struggling to, kind of keep any consistency going. I think that he's been much better since Brady's come back, but he loses him and his quarterback this week. Could be a problem. Number 8, I see Rich, another guy who's on the down.
Slipping, though. Definitely slipping, man.
Flipping it up. I think
you're going to have a tough time if Rich takes a loss this week and I get a win this week. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to have a tough time with me beating him in that division and still putting him above me.
That's fair. Colin and Rich have combined lost 5 in a row. They're near the bottom at points scored. Those are 2 guys that can't love where they are, even though they're 3 and 5. And then I got Rachel at number 7, also coming off a loss, scoring a little bit more than the other 2 guys. Only lost 1. She's not in great position either, but somehow she's hanging in there, and that rounds out the top half. Any questions, arguments on that, gentlemen?
Sounds good.
I'm with you. There's nothing on there that bothers me.
All right, everybody's probably more interested in the top half anyway. Top half looks like this. I got Michael coming in at number 6. Michael's been, in that same boat where it's kind of up and down. He's 3 and 5. They actually have him ranked at the bottom, which I don't really understand because he's got the most points of all the 3 and 5 teams. He's lost 2 in a row as well, but I think he's got some tough matchups. He's got the most points of all those squads, and yet he's also got killed in points against. Tough one getting hammered by Jake this past week. Number 5, I got Casey. He's the only 4 and 4 squad. I don't know. We've discussed his coaching.
It should be better. Should be better.
It should be better. It really should. I think he should be a 6 and 2 team. Mm-hmm. Tamala, man, how the mighty have fallen.
Oh, burn, Matt. Burn.
4. I cannot look at you and say that I feel bad about your team. I would trade with you in a heartbeat. But as you admitted, it has been a struggle these last 2 weeks, and you've come out on the bottom side of some rough matchups, and therefore you have slipped into the 4 spot. Coming at number 3, I've got Joelle. Even though she's 7 and 1, I still don't like her more than either of the 2 remaining teams, but she's getting close. Both those gentlemen, and either one of them gets a loss this week and she wins, she surpasses them very easily. It's an interesting thing to see a 7 and 1 squad coming at number 3.
I mean, she won't wrap up the division as quickly as Brian, but I mean, you're looking pretty good, man.
Yeah, only a 1-game lead, though. Jake's right on her heels. Coming in number 2, I actually have Brian. Brian has won 2 in a row. He's got a good amount of points. He's still behind Tamala by about 100, and he's behind Jake by about 10. And the reason I don't have him ahead of my number 1 squad, which is Jake, is because he lost to Jake in their only matchup they played.
Head-to-head. We brought that in there. You're like the BS, JT.
So I got Jake as the top squad. Brian right there with it. Right now, it looks like Brian and Joelle would be the 1 seeds, which I'm sure they would really like to avoid playing in that first round. Currently, the 3 seed would be Jake. The 4 seed would be Tamala. The 5 seed would be Casey. And the 6 seed is a giant cluster F beyond any kind of words right now.
Well, and it's interesting that
even though Jake's
team looks so strong. Sorry, JT. Even though Jake's team looks so strong, if it were to end today, he would not get a bye.
Right. And it is. I just don't know how long that lasts. Right now, the way that our tiebreakers are set, Rich is actually coming in as the number 6 squad, performing a little better than I have him in the power rankings. But that is subject to change a great deal when there's
1 loss, 1 win for anyone in that tie up in that division, sir.
Dude, there's 5 teams at 3 and 5, and after this week, there could be a bunch more that are 4 and 5 or 3 and 6. It's gonna be messy. So there we are.
All right.
All right.
Love it.
Mr. Brown, do you have something for us?
I have something for you today. One of the things that I want to talk about, it doesn't have to do with our fantasy football team, but it does have to do with just what's going on in football in general. See, I always think back to ways to win a press conference, ways to lose a press conference. The worst one I ever saw was Ryan Leaf yelling at the reporter. Best one I've ever seen is Tim Tebow. But Cam Newton's one on the Super Bowl was pretty bad. However, this week, I think I saw something worse. He goes up and he's starting to complain about the being hit and how he feels unsafe on the field. So I went to the stat sheet. He's had more roughing the passer calls than either Luck, Roethlisberger, or the prettiest boy in football, Tom Brady. So I think back to it and I say, you're a physical football player. It's about time you man up. So my question is to you guys is, come on, Cam, get with it. Wait a sec. What was that? Is that a flag that was just thrown on the field? Was it a flag? Oh, no, it wasn't. Hey, Bills fans, next time you want to throw something, hit Cam upside the head and tell him to man up. Hashtag. Signing off. Go ahead, Tamala. I'll like the rebuttal.
I don't know where you got your stats from. I mean,
he has more roughing the passer calls than either Brady, and over the past 16 games, than Luck, Roethlisberger, or Brady.
okay.
What do you want? You play physical. You're a 260-pound quarterback.
But that shouldn't matter.
You've gotten the calls, though.
But
I'm with JT. I'm voting these nuts.
no, I don't
My
think
mail today.
it's different when he's outside the pocket, but when he's in the pocket, he gets hit and he doesn't get the same calls.
Okay. I've always heard it's hard to
a couple people come out and say that people should block better for him.
Oh, they should. I mean, it's the same. No, honestly, but they treat him like Shaq. They do. Shaq got fouled all the time. And
Shaq, I've heard the same with LeBron. Listen, man, I'm sorry. I just am tired of people getting up and complaining at the end of a press conference with a pimp hat, by the way.
The one argument I was listening to today, I think it was coming from Wilbon or something, was that Big Ben is just as big and just as hard to bring down, but that the difference is that Cam will run you over a little more, while Big Ben will kind of slip out of your tackles. And the idea that Cam runs you over and that he is kind of a powerhouse and gets up and celebrates and does all the dances and things may have brought people to a point where they are less likely to give him credit. I agree, Tamal. I think he should be getting some of these flags. I watched a lot of that game. He was getting hit in the legs, but he brings a lot of attention on himself. Some of that's going to be, I don't think it's fair, but that's what's going to happen.
all right, guys.
All right.
By the way, that wasn't a flag.
Oh, knowing you, I'm surprised you won.
All right, guys, we're going to sign off here.
All right. Night, everybody.
Have a good night.